Chapter 3. The following week unfolded under a sky that felt caught between winter and spring. Sunlight spilled across the campus, but the air still carried a chill, sharp enough to redden cheeks and make students tug their jackets tighter as they hurried to class. Declan, now accustomed to the rhythm of his final semester, pushed open the heavy glass doors of the Dalhousie Student Union building, the heartbeat of student life on campus. Inside, the air was warmer, alive with chatter, the smell of coffee from the Grawood pub drifting faintly into the main hall. He balanced his textbooks in one arm, scanning the familiar faces of classmates clustered at tables, and threaded his way toward the upper floor where study groups often claimed their corners. Declan's study group had already gathered near the back corner, where the tall windows framed the city beyond. There was Liam, sharp-eyed and quick with jokes, always ready to lighten the mood when deadlines loomed. Priya, focused and meticulous, who never arrived without a rainbow of highlighters, and Emily, whose easy laughter had made her the glue of the group. The table was littered with coffee cups, loose-leaf notes, and laptops, a chaos that somehow still worked for them. Liam had thrown on his favorite Toronto Maple Leaf sweater, the blue and white logo bold against the backdrop of his notebook, a subtle but constant reminder of his loyalty. Declan slid into his usual spot, nodding and greeting. "Sorry I'm late, got caught up after class." "Late?" Liam smirked. "We haven't even started. Priya's just rewriting her notes in 3 different colors and Emily's Googling snacks instead of sources." Emily rolled her eyes, laughing. "At least I share what I find. You all liked the Timbits last time." The group chuckled and Declan set his books down. Yet even as conversation carried on, his thoughts drifted. His eyes flicked occasionally to the entrance, though he tried not to let it show. He was waiting for someone who wasn't part of the group, at least not yet. When she appeared, it was almost by accident. Azalea stood near the entrance of the lounge, a notebook hugged to her chest, scanning the rows of tables filled with students. Her pink hair caught the afternoon light, soft and unmistakable. Declan felt the quiet tug in his chest again, the one that had lingered since their encounters at the library and the cafe. He hesitated, nerves stirring. This was new ground. He could invite her in, bring her into the circle he had built over years of study, or he could let the moment pass. The words caught in his throat for a beat before he finally stood. "Hey," Declan called, his voice warm but steady. Her gaze snapped toward him, surprise flickering before recognition softened her expression. "Hi," Azalea said, a little tentative but with a small smile tugging at her lips. He crossed the space between them, balancing familiarity with caution. "We're just getting started on a study session. Do you maybe want to join us? No pressure, of course." Azalea blinked, clearly caught off guard. Her fingers fidgeted lightly against her notebook as though weighing the invitation. "Oh, I don't want to intrude." "You wouldn't be intruding," Declan reassured quickly. "Honestly, the more brains at the table the better, and I thought, well, you might like the company." Her eyes searched his for a moment, the hesitation slowly easing. "If you're sure." "I'm sure." Declan offered a smile. "Come on." Together, they returned to the group, Azalea's presence pulling curious glances from his friends. "This is Azalea," Declan said, introducing her as they reached the table. "We've run into each other a couple of times at the library and, the cafe." Recognition lit Emily's face first. "Oh, so you're the one behind the coffee incident Liam wouldn't stop joking about." Azalea laughed softly, cheeks pink. "Guilty, I guess. I promise I'm not always that clumsy." "Don't worry," Liam chimed in, grinning. "We're all disasters in our own ways." Speak for yourself, Priya added, though her lips curved into a smile as she slid her notebook aside. Welcome, Azalea. Azalea relaxed a fraction, lowering her notebook onto the crowded table. Thank you, I appreciate it. Declan watched the exchange, a quiet relief blooming in him. She was fitting in, tentatively, yes, but genuinely. The study session began in earnest, with laptops opening and notes spreading further across the table. Declan found himself split between focusing on his coursework and stealing glances at Azalea as she leaned over her notebook, her handwriting neat and deliberate. She listened intently when Priya explained a concept, asking questions with genuine curiosity that sparked deeper discussion. At one point, Emily nudged Declan under the table, a knowing smile playing at her lips. He shot her a look, half warning, half pleading, and she stifled a laugh before turning back to her notes. Conversation ebbed and flowed, sometimes serious, sometimes meandering into shared jokes. Declan felt a new thread weaving into the group's dynamic, a quieter energy but no less valuable. And all the while, an unspoken awareness simmered between him and Azalea. Hours passed unnoticed until the daylight outside the tall windows deepened into twilight. Students trickled out of the SUB, voices fading into the evening hum of Halifax beyond the glass. Declan closed his laptop with a quiet sigh. I think that's enough for tonight. My brain's fried. Same, Emily agreed, stretching her arms overhead. But hey, we got through a lot. Liam shoved his books into his backpack and survived, barely. As the group gathered their things, Declan turned to Azalea. Thanks for joining us today. It was really nice having you there. Her smile was small but genuine. Thank you for inviting me. I didn't realize how much I missed working with a group. It felt good. Declan hesitated, then spoke before nerves stopped him. Would you want to come again next week? Her eyes brightened, hope mingling with caution. Yeah, I'd like that. They lingered for a moment outside the SUB, the evening air crisp, the faint hum of traffic drifting from the nearby streets. Declan shifted his bag on his shoulder, searching for the right words. Can I give you my number? Just in case we need to coordinate times. Azalea tilted her head, her smile widening a little. Sure, that makes sense. Phones exchanged hands briefly. Numbers tapped in with a flutter of nerves neither admitted aloud. When their devices were returned, both hesitated, as though reluctant to end the moment. I'll see you soon then, Declan said softly. Azalea nodded, her hair catching in the breeze. See you. She turned, heading down the sidewalk, while Declan stood watching until she disappeared into the flow of students heading home. His Toyota Corolla waited in the parking lot, its familiar frame a steady presence at the end of a long day. Declan slid inside, the faint smell of old coffee and worn leather greeting him like an old friend. As he drove toward the Angus MacDonald Bridge, the city lights flickered to life, shimmering across the water below. Crossing the bridge, he couldn't help but let his thoughts replay the afternoon. The surprise in her eyes when he invited her, the way her laughter had melted the edges of her nerves, the soft weight of her number now resting in his phone. Something in him felt shifted, though he couldn't quite name it. By the time he pulled into the driveway of his home, the day's exhaustion pressed down on him, but it was softened by something warmer, something unfamiliar yet welcome. He gathered his books, tossed his jacket over the arm of a chair, and let the quiet of the house settle around him. In the solitude, his thoughts returned to Azalea again and again, her voice, her hesitant smile, the spark of trust beginning to take root between them. For the first time in weeks, the weight of deadlines and the looming finality of graduation didn't feel quite so heavy. Declan sat back, exhaling into the silence, a faint smile tugging at his lips. Whatever path had just opened, he knew it was one he wanted to follow.